Hey everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve and I am a drone pilot, and today I have an RC helicopter that is pretty darn cool. So this little baby is called the F06 by Zhang, and I have reviewed the same helicopter before about a month ago. It was the helicopter from Eachine and it was called the E135. Now in the review video I did of the Eachine model, which is over here, it looks like this. This model is pretty much the same. As a matter of fact, I think this company makes the model for Eachine, usually to the specifications of Eachine. Now I've looked at the specifications of this model and the Eachine model, and honestly, unless I take it apart, I can't see any difference. I think it's pretty much the same model. So the Eachine model was in orange and white, if you like the orange and white version, and this one is in yellow and blue. So this is of benefit to you because you have two videos you can go watch. In this review, I'm going to show you everything about this helicopter and do a lot of cool things to it. And in the other review, I did a lot of cool things as well. Except this one, I'm going to fly it in my house, then I'm going to fly it in my backyard in a tiny little space, then I'm going to go fly it in a big field, and I am just going to ram this around in manual mode and attach a camera to it. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, we're going to get on with the review, but before we get on with the review, I want to tell you the specs really quick. So this is the remote it comes with, and you can get 120 meters of distance with this remote. When you order this, you have a choice of 1 battery, 2 batteries, or 3 batteries. They are proprietary batteries. You can't use your own. You have to use the ones for this helicopter, and you will get 8 to 10 minutes of flight time per battery. Up here on the rotors, to make it look authentic, it's a fly-barless design. But the cool thing is, there's a brushless direct drive motor in here, a really good one, and a brushless direct drive motor in the tail. So the motor in the tail is 4200 kV and the main rotor motor is 1100 kV. All the servos inside to control the blades are all digital. And because the servos are so fast at responding, you can fly this in level 5 winds. So if it's windy out, in my first review it was pretty windy and I flew this and it did extremely well. The reason this helicopter is so popular, not because it's got a lot of cool lights on it, it's because there's optical flow on the bottom. So when you fly in optical flow mode, it just sits in position. You're going to see that here indoors and outdoors, and waits for you to move the joysticks. It also has altitude hold, so if you leave it at a certain height and fly it around, it just stays at that height no matter what. As I mentioned, you've got LED lights, one in the front, one up here, you probably can't see it, and an indicator light back here. The cool thing about this helicopter is that they made it so you can fly it inverted. Now in this video, I did fly it inverted, except my GoPro didn't really catch it that well. I will say it's a handful to fly it inverted. All right, enough talking, on with the review. Here we go. So the first flight is going to be an indoor flight. Now what you have to know about indoors is that the optical flow down here requires lots of light. So I have a light over there to add extra light. I have the windows, it's a little dull outside, and I have another light back here. With those lights, I should have enough lighting to give the optical flow enough visual reference. All right, so we have a bit of room for optical flow. Let's power it up. And let's go up nice and slow. There we go. It should see the landing pad underneath and stay quite stable. So indoors, I'm not touching the joystick. It's looking at the ground. It's hovering. I'll take it up a little higher. There we go. Right there. And it should look at the ground and stay put. Now if you try to fly this indoors and it moves all over the place, it's because you do not have enough light indoors. I can go side to side. It should see the ground no problem. There we go. So my advice is only fly this indoors if you have a big room. If you have a little room like I have here, not very good. Even if you try to yaw it, it's going to move a little bit. I'm going to try to yaw it slow. You'll see it will circle around in the air. It's not really staying put, but it's doing a pretty good job. There we go. It's going around, not hitting any furniture. And there we go. All right, so let's bring it back and land it, and we'll take it out in my backyard where there's a bit more room. Going down. Okay, now we're outdoors. If you look at my backyard, there's not a lot of space here. Trees are everywhere to bang into. So we're gonna fly to my backyard quickly, and then we're gonna go fly it in a big open field and do all sorts of things with it in manual mode. Still in optical flow mode. I'll bring it back so the cameras can see it. There we go. Good thing about this, it also has altitude hold with optical flow. So if you bring it low to the ground like that and move it nice and slow forward, it will stay at that height, which is really good. And then you can bring it back, zoom along the ground. So in a small area like my backyard here, you have to leave it in optical flow, and then you can fly it around. Nice. I'm gonna go this way. I'll miss everything this way, come back to me. And go over here. Go sideways. Bring it back sideways and stop it over there. It sits in the air very well. I'm going to show you the optical flow. I'm going to mess it up by putting my hand underneath. There we go. See, it messes up the optical flow. It's like, hey, why is the ground there? What's going on? So you have to keep that area clear underneath. So the good thing is you can fly it around your backyard using one joystick if you want, forward, backwards, right, left. Yeah, there's no skill required. When you take it out to a big field, you can then put it in manual mode, and I'm going to tell you this thing goes really fast in manual mode. But for now, let's just land it here, and I'll go down nice and slow and bring it on down. There we go. So to turn off the motors, you can hold the left joystick down and release it like that, and you see it, the prop stop. All right, next I'm going to take it to a big field. I'm going to fly it in optical flow mode and manual mode. I'll have a DJI Mini 3 Pro circling me to get some really cool shots. I'll even stick a camera on it, and it should look pretty cool. So let's go to the field now. All right, so the Mini 3 Pro should be recording me. Got the helicopter down here, gonna power it on. Let's fly in optical flow mode, then let's fly in manual mode. See how it does out here in the wider area. Power this on. All good, put it down, let it set itself up. Okay, we're all set to go. Pull these down and out, and let's go on up. It should sit right there. I'm in optical flow mode. It might take a second to get its bearings, and it's got its bearings. Usually in optical flow mode, what happens is underneath, that little camera underneath, just like you saw earlier, it has to attach itself to something so that it stays stable. And if you look at the ground, and I got all this gravel, so it has to find little patches. It likes the landing pad because it's a different shape and color. All right, so out here, you can have a lot of fun flying it around. I'm just gonna fly in optical flow mode and just doing little circles, bringing it back around me, coming back this way. Do a nice little circle rotation. So if you're learning to fly a helicopter, this one's really good, because how I'm flying this right now for the beginners watching this is I have it going forward a very little bit with the right joystick, and then on the left joystick I am yawing it just a little bit to the left, and that causes me to fly a circle. It's identical to how you fly a drone. It's identical to flying a drone. Same thing. Very simple to fly. And if you want to do something like a figure eight, you go like this, and then you do it to the opposite side. Come around, and come back, and then go past the spinning blades of death, and then go this way, over here. There we go. And then I'll get out of the way of the spinning blades of death, and then I'll bring it down around again. So the reason I'm out here in the larger area is because we can fly it in manual mode quite well. So I have my little button here, I'll hit manual mode. Now there's no optical flow, so I have, I won't say full control, but I have a lot more control of it. So I'm gonna keep it out of the way of the Mini. There we go. Now since I'm out here, I can actually show you how fast this goes, and it really does fly fast. I'm gonna take it down this runway. Okay, I'll spin it around. It's gonna come back at full speed. There we are, full speed. I'm trying to get it to come right over me. Look at it go. That is fast. I tell you, when they made this, I don't think they realized that making it that fast for beginners is kind of insane. Look at that go. That's just craziness. Okay, put it in optical flow mode and then bring it on down to me. And bring it over for a nice little landing. Now, I'm not the greatest at landing on the pad, but I was pretty close. Just hold the left joystick down and the motors will stop. All right, so I've got a little Insta360 GO camera sitting right on the side. It shouldn't affect the weight or the balance too much because there's a gyro in here, but let me fly it and we'll see what it does. Now that I have a camera on the helicopter, this is full speed in optical flow mode going by. Probably doesn't look that fast on the camera. That's full speed optical flow mode, so that's what beginners should fly in optical flow mode. You won't get much faster than that. I can even turn it around and bring it back towards me and fly right over my head. Go up over my head a little bit, and there we go. Perfect. Now I'm in manual mode, and I'll try to do full speed. I'll bring it up a bit, and here we go. It's gonna come over my head. Well, that's not really over my head, that's beside my head. That is fast though. Now, as I mentioned, for beginners, it can get away from you pretty fast if you just fly it like that. God, that's fast. So they're going over me now. Woohoo! You can cover a lot of ground really fast. This thing is incredibly fast. You can do some crazy things. I'm going way up in the sky. Look at that. There we go. It's way the heck up there. Looking around my world. To me, it's almost like a dot in the sky. It's just up there. So if you're experienced in flying a drone, your brain should set your mind up for how to make the joysticks work so that you do not lose this helicopter. And if you do, just put it in optical flow mode like I'm going to. There you go. It stops. And now it just sits in the air and it tries to find the ground and it sits nice and still. Yeah, all right. So let's bring it over here and we're just gonna land it. Try to get over the landing pad as best I can. There we go. Got it on the landing pad. So the next thing I want to show you is what comes in the box. Check this out. This is the box the F06 helicopter comes in. Inside the box, you'll find the helicopter, remote, batteries, and accessories. A helicopter user manual is included. The helicopter arrives fully assembled, and it is highly detailed. The 2-cell batteries are charged via USB right here. Indicator lights show you how much voltage is remaining. Also, each battery has an external 5-volt port so that you can add an FPV camera or external lights. A 6-channel remote is included. You will need to supply 4 AA batteries to power it. 4 spare blades are included, as well as a spare tail prop. A set of tools and a USB-C cable are also included. Total weight of the helicopter with battery is 273 grams. So what are my thoughts on this helicopter? Well, it's identical to the last helicopter I reviewed. Here's a picture of my review up here. Excellent for beginners when you fly in optical flow mode, but when you put it in manual mode, it can get away from you if you're a beginner because it flies very fast in one direction. And if you try to get it back, it's still going in that direction. You have to literally spin the helicopter in air so that it's still tilted and then coming back to you. Because if you let it go forward and you let go of the joystick, like you do on like a DJI drone or something like that, it has no braking system. It does not stop. It just keeps on going and says bye-bye. So I'm sure a lot of people have lost this helicopter or crashed this helicopter in manual mode. So if you're mindful of that and you're flying in a big, large open area, you should have no problems. And I don't know if I mentioned it in my last review, but the joysticks on here feel really good on the fingers. However, the controller itself is a toy controller. So what does that mean? That means when you move the joysticks all the way in any direction, although they feel good, they don't work like a real remote should work. So it's like you're moving them and nothing's happening on this. Like it's the feedback is not happening quickly enough. Once again, it's designed for beginners, so they've got the Expo just doing something insane on here that you move the joystick as far as you can and very little happens, and then all of a sudden something happens. So it's very confusing. And I have to say, I was hoping this video had the inverted mode with the camera on, but you know, I have tried that inverted mode so many times and I get it to work about once every 20th try, and I did get it to work with my GoPro hat on. However, looking straight up, the GoPro hat couldn't see it, so I didn't show you the video. I tried to bring it down lower to the ground, but the wind blows it. So when it goes inverted, just to tell you now, there is no stability. It's sitting in the air and it has no optical flow and it's in manual mode. So as the wind is blowing, it just blows away with the wind. Inverted. Now when you want to come down, sure, you can bring it down, but the controls are all goofy on here. So it comes down and at first it looks like it's not coming down, then it's coming down really fast. So it becomes a little bit scary. And then you have to get it over, because if you don't flip it back over, it won't do it itself. It'll just run out of power and come down and land and crash into the ground. So the inverted mode is something you might not want to try until you've had this for a long time and you don't mind destroying it. Now, I don't know if I could show you this with this little GoPro camera, but if you want to make this fly upside down, you hold this button in and then move the joystick straight up and release it to the center and it should flip. Problem is, it has to be really high up in the air. So let's try it. Oh, and you have to be in manual mode. Get it way up there. Okay, it's so friggin' high. Like, who's gonna flip it up that high? Hang on a sec. That is massively high up there. Okay, let's try this. So with all that said, the links to this product are below. A lot of people are having an awful lot of fun with this on YouTube, so you might want to have a lot of fun with it as well. So go check the links below and see what the price is. You can get it with 1 battery, 2 batteries, or 3 batteries. And finally, if you have any questions on this heli, well then post them below and I'll get back to you. But for now, I say thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and I'll catch you in a future video with many more reviews. Until then, I say bye.